what total global financial assets are in the world and how much Bitcoin can capture from that total addressable market. So total financial assets in the world are 900 trillion US dollars. And I like to think that Bitcoin will capture 5% of that addressable market. What's 5% of 900 trillion? That's 45 trillion US dollars in today's dollars. What is 45 trillion US dollars divided by 21 million Bitcoin? That's over $2 million US per Bitcoin in today's dollars.
One of the most outspoken supporters of Bitcoin worldwide is Greg Foss. Foss has worked in traditional finance for over 30 years, both in the US and Canada. During that time, he has seen personally how the system is broken and how Bitcoin can repair it. In an interview with Simply Bitcoins Nico Morin last week, Looking Glass Education co-founders Foss and James Lavish discussed the US banking crisis, the role played by the Fed in the fall of the S&P 500, and where Bitcoin fits into everything. Lavish, a well-known Silicon Valley blogger and Bitcoin advocate, claims because of the Federal Reserve's astounding inability to function effectively, a liquidity crisis that led to bank failure was mainly made possible. It was clarified that the fractional reserve system enables banks to lend money and invest deposits, typically in treasury bonds. However, to prevent a bank run, they must match the deposit base's duration with the investments they are making. This will guarantee that there will always be enough liquidity whenever depositors come knocking. A beautiful bank run and subsequent collapse brought about by SVB's failure to get the length right sent shockwaves through the whole banking industry. Furthermore, the role that Bitcoin plays in this was examined by Lavish and Foss. In light of the fact that the banking industry has always been unhealthy and would eventually collapse, Greg Foss said that Bitcoin will fill the void and continue to grow. Now we'll take you to the conversation where Foss and Lavish talk about the likelihood that Bitcoin could soon become a multi-trillion-dollar asset class. For more videos, please subscribe, watch the entire video, and give it a thumbs up.
All I will say is, people, the banking system is sick. And it's always been sick. It's just that people are wisening up to the true realities right now. This is what Bitcoin was designed for. So don't forget, in 2008, 2009, the Genesis block basically said the chancellor is bailing out banks again, right? So this is the second coming of a bank crisis that is the result of not solving the first banking crisis properly. So let's understand that Satoshi had a vision that he needed to have a lifeboat. And luckily we do have that lifeboat. Is it all the marginal buying doing to that? No, it can't possibly be. But I'd like to think that a good chunk of it is, because that's what Bitcoin was designed for. And it's performing like it should. Now, here's the crazy thing. James says Bitcoin should be at 50,000. I'm going to be like, I can't believe it's not at 250,000. And by the way, I'm even going to go on record saying this guy Balaji, or Balaji, however you say his name, I didn't even know who he was before, but man, I like his style. Because why? Even though I think it's a low probability that he's right, it's not zero, people. Just please understand what a distribution of possible outcomes looks like. And he's focusing on a tail risk, or in this case, a tail opportunity, because if the system does come down in magnificent fashion, Bitcoin will be at a price of greater than $1 million. When? That's the key. Is it going to be in 90 days? Unlikely, but not impossible. I always like to look at things from an expected value, potential outcome, and you put probabilities on different prices, and then you do your expected value. Calculation. That's statistics 101, how to calculate an expected value. But I'm very clear with everybody. I have a price target for Bitcoin of over 2 million US dollars. And should it be there? Yes, it should be there today. And the fact that it isn't blows my mind, because it's so damn cheap. So I can't argue with Balaji saying that in 90 days it should be at $1 million. This is something that makes it the best asymmetric opportunity I've ever seen in my life. And that is all good, because asymmetric return opportunities are what define career. Well, that's my price target, and it's not a limit, but it starts with examining what total global financial assets are in the world and how much Bitcoin can capture from that total addressable market. So total financial assets in the world are 900 trillion US dollars. Okay, that includes all global debt, which is 400 trillion US dollars. It includes $300 trillion of global real estate. It includes about $100 trillion of global equities, and then $100 trillion of other assets like fine art, gold, commodities, currencies. At the end of the day, that's $900 trillion, right? So 400 plus 300 plus 100 plus 100. And I like to think that Bitcoin will capture 5% of that addressable market. What's 5% of 900 trillion? That's 45 trillion US dollars in today's dollars. What is 45 trillion US dollars divided by 21 million Bitcoin? That's over $2 million US per Bitcoin in today's dollars, which is to say, as long as it's trading at less than that price, I view it as cheap to my target price. Now, there's other ways of calculating intrinsic value of Bitcoin, including using credit default swaps and everything. All of this goes into a calculation where I just look at Bitcoin trading at 25,000 US dollars and I say, thank God that it's there so I can buy some more and I can get other people onboarded. Here's a question. So what is keeping BTC price down according to Zed Logic? It just came across. Look, that's what makes a market, okay? A market is made by buyers and sellers. When it was trading at $1,000 of Bitcoin, when I first got involved, I'm like, I know this thing is going to 10,000. Did I load up the boat? Yeah, a little, but not as much as I should have, given now it's trading at 25,000 and I figured it's going to go to 2 million. So manage your risk. Don't put a time limit on your investment. I own this thing for 20 years at a minimum. I'm owning it for my kids, and I'm not going to sweat the fact that it's trading at a price that I think is extremely cheap. Well, it was a lot cheaper than that at one point in its time, and it did get to 70,000, but 70,000 is such a rounding error. I just look at it and I'm like, okay, guys, if you're sweating over the next $5,000 or $10,000 move in Bitcoin, you're managing your risk inappropriately. You don't know how to manage risk.
Meanwhile, in one of his recent tweets, Greg Foss perfectly sums up the pitchable economic conditions in each of the G7 nations. Here is the state of the G7. The tweet states, US a laughing stock, Japan dead, Germany walking dead, UK we have a king, France common monsieur c'est comic, Italy someone else will pay, Canada budgets balance themselves. World Central purchases insurance on this immature leadership as a result of the G7 foes sensing vulnerability. The only true asset that doesn't depend on unstable democracies governed by ineffective leaders or failed institutions. He concludes his tweet with the hashtag Bitcoin. How do you feel about the interview with Foss and Lavish? In the comment section below, please share your thoughts and views. Be sure to set on post alerts for future videos like this, subscribe to the channel, and indicate your appreciation for this one by clicking the like button. Many thanks for tuning in.